Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, everyone. As usual, very glad to have you here listening and watching with us. Before we get into the episode, make sure you like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, follow the podcast and give it a rating. It genuinely helps a lot. Now, my guest today is one half of Melbourne's electrifying house and techno duo Market Memories. Having their music played by some of the biggest acts in the world, such as CamelPhat and Dennis Salter, the duo has also played at some of the biggest festivals and events in Australia. What is said to be an exciting podcast episode, which might see us dive deep into the history of Melbourne nightlife and the background and the behind the scenes of the Melbourne nightlife. Welcome to Behind the Tune, Sean Rault, or the other half of Market Memories.
Hey guys, how you going?
What's been going on? What's been happening?
Not much, man. We just got through the busy part of the year. Summer is always crazy, especially in Melbourne.
Yeah. Why is it busy? Like, what made it? Was it busier than usual this year, or do you reckon?
No, like every summer we're surprised how busy it is, but like it's always the same thing. So it shouldn't be surprising. But just all the events can happen through from November through to April. Usually after Easter, the events slow down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
what was the highlight of your summer?
Highlight of summer. Oh God, I reckon gig wise, we played a really good gig in Adelaide actually for the front room. Mm-hmm. With Stella Bossi. Mm-hmm. I always fuck that up. As well as we ran a day party at Electric, which was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the sort of, why were those events the highlights?
Adelaide was the first time we played for that promoter, and the crowd were just really into it. We got a long set. We got to sit down and just really sit back in it, which is always good to be able to sort of, rather than just 1 hour of power, which is sort of got to fit in 3 or 4 of our own tunes and pick the rest of them. We played a good 2.5, 3 hours there, and the sound was good. And then Electric Day Parties, the one we create ourselves, we do it every year, and it's our crowd there for our music and our which is always good response, and yeah, it feels like home.
It was like a Market Memories sort of gig.
Yeah, it's called we call it Day Party by Market Memories.
Oh, okay.
So it's we do it every year at Electric, and we're probably going to look at taking it around at the moment, around Victoria to some more regional suburbs, and then hopefully see where it goes from there.
Well, yeah, we've got a lot to get into. As I said, we're talking in the car, and sort of you're a busy man. A lot of things to get into. Market Memories, Circus, and then Reminisce.
Yeah.
Let's get into Market Memories first, because that's sort of
That's my baby.
That's your baby. You and Ollie have been doing Market Memories for, how long have you been doing that for?
About 7 years. We've been DJing separate. Before that, we DJed separately for about 10. I'm 37 and Ollie's 39. So yeah, we were friends for we were always friends, always got along. And then about 2 years before Market Memories started, him and I started going to festivals together, camping together, and part of that crew. And yeah, and then about 7 years ago, we started Market Memories.
Yeah, and how did you become friends? Just through going out?
Yeah, just through going out. Ollie and our friend Jacob from The Journey, they were running Circus Saturday mornings 10 years ago, and I was so they were doing Friday nights, and I was doing Saturday mornings, doing after them. I'm pretty sure that was the order, yeah. So I'd start at 3:30, and when they'd be finishing at 3:30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then what was when did you guys sort of decide to start Market Memories? What was the conversation or light bulb?
We're at Rainbow Serpent Festival, and the best stage in the world, in our opinion, is the Market stage. So we were out there, I can't remember who we were listening to, somewhere on the Sunday, but we were literally dancing, fucking hugging and going around, and we Ollie was sort of, I used to own a different club, and I wasn't playing as much, and Ollie was playing once a month because he had at Revolver, but we just decided we thought we should play together, and that's also where the name Market Memories comes from.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, because it's the stage.
From Market stage, yeah. We couldn't really call ourselves Market stage because it'd be a bit too obvious, but yeah. So we called it Market Memories from the memories we've had there, and then yeah, lucky enough to play on that stage 2.5 years later, 3 years later.
Oh yeah. When did Market Memories what was the inception date? What was the year?
I would say 2017, 2016. It's when we started playing together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I'd say around 2016. So like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, right. And when you start producing, because were you producing beforehand or?
No, I was really late to the producing train. I started producing about 2 years later.
Oh wow.
So I'm still like, I can do it, but I'm still at the start. I'd say like for 5 years in. Yeah.
Okay, and then sort of in that sense, then when you guys do produce, is it sort of more Ollie taking the charge and?
No, Ollie's the same as me. So
Oh, wow.
like I always the key thing is ask for help. I always have people help me. Yeah, I'm always in the studio. Like I think I go to the studio 3 days a week, work with different people, learn new things, do the things like one of the main things I always find is that you should always ask for help because it can save you throwing a computer against the wall, which I'm sure a lot of producers out there know exactly what that feels like.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I mean, you guys have made some like killer tracks. So you say that you're sort of in the early stages of production.
No, when I say early stage of production, I say the early stage of my knowledge. Like, for instance, the person who taught me how to produce Mike Calendar, he's got a doctorate in electronic music, like literally doctorate.
wow.
So he's Dr. Techno.
Yeah.
So when I was learning from him, that's fine. And then now we make music together. So he helps me to like if I have something, I'm like, Mike, what's going on here? And he'd be like, yeah, this. Or we work with Aidan Fort from Phoenix Paul because he's amazing sound engineer. He helps like bring out the most of our stuff. Like, yeah, always work with, I love working with other people.
Yeah, because I think that's important. I think that's one thing that I've noticed from the podcast is that a lot of people sort of say, or like going into studio sessions with other artists is like the best thing you could do because everyone works differently.
It's like it's easily the best thing you can do. Like I learn more from that than any lesson or anything I could ever do. Just from people, someone will know how to do something 3 different ways when you're struggling on the wrong way. If you know what I mean. And it's just like it can save time, it can save money. Like I'm 37 years old. If I sat there and learned everything all the time, everything like I might have had a track out by the time I was 50,
Because a good one that went really well for you guys.
Yeah.
How did that sort of come about, and what was the process behind that track?
The process behind that track. So a good one was we were working with when we were very early in the career, in our producing career, and one thing I always say is like what I learned from that one is go in with an idea of what you want to write. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not the sort of person. I have 3 businesses. Like if I go in with no idea what's right, it just goes everywhere. That one I said I wanted to write a Revolver anthem. So like that's where our head was when we went in, and it was just like the sound space at the time at Revolver, and that hook just came out of us, and then that's where we sat.
Yeah, was that like the first when you made that track? Was that the first sort of hook that you made, or was it like different iterations?
No, that not the first hook.
Yeah,
but we used that sound, and then we edited the pattern, and we just slowly like figured out what was going to work and what could be repetitive without being repetitive, which I think is one of the main things in electronic music is being repetitive, because everything's written in 4/4.
Yeah.
But also don't be annoyingly repetitive to the listener. So like it's a trial and error. I would say most of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it just you two that making that track, or did you have?
Yeah, us two, and Aidan Ford helped us on that one as well.
Okay. Yeah, and then that released 2019 that track, and then how was it did it pick up steam quickly, or was it sort of a slow burn?
Well, that one came out quickly because the label we released it through, which was Suck Music. Well, first off, we had one release before that, which was the Faces of Meth remix. So that was a 10-year remix. We actually wrote, the idea behind that tune was we needed a cult classic, which it was back in the day, to play at Rainbow. We'd like to do one left of center old tune to play the big events. Like, so like before Solomon, we played in white rooms because before Solomon we weren't allowed to play any vocals, so we had to find that that sort of stuff. So with in Faces of Meth, I said we should do that, and then I was friends with Nick Coleman who wrote it, and said, "Hey, let's can I do this?" And he goes, "Well, funnily enough, it's a 10-year anniversary." So we did that, and we wrote that so that gave us sort of a platform on Spotify, and then his record label also released a good one, and they just used promo agencies. And the day of the release, before it was released, we got a video of Patrick Topping playing Ollie Davis's remix at Capifura.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Capifura, the one with
What country is that in?
In Italy.
Oh, Italy. Okay,
In Italy, and CamelPhat playing it at Tomorrowland the week of.
That's right. Yeah.
So like it just got promoted really well.
Yeah.
So that's sort of it came out of the gates, and it just like sort of solidly built and built and built.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's massive. I think it's massive for a track. How was it like seeing your track getting played at Tomorrowland?
It was our first single release as like just as Market Memories, and it was like honestly after that you think, well, this is easy.
Just make a track get played Tomorrowland.
No, of course. But like that was it was surreal. It was unbelievable. And that got really good support for like 2 years. Yeah.
Do you feel like after that track you sort of had the pressure to make a track of the same caliber?
Yeah, and Ollie, like, I was like, okay, cool. We need to keep going on this vibe, this up a bit. But Ollie was in the thing that he wanted to make something cooler and like for a bit more status quo. But we ended up with a two-piece EP called Too Good in the Charm, and one was a bit cooler and one was a bit more accessible, but. It's a bit funny that we just thought like, oh yeah, you've released this and then fuck, everything's all good. And the next one didn't flop at all. People still listen now. It does right. But we thought it was like bang, 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 bang. But like, no, it's a hell of a grind.
Yeah, for sure. I'd imagine because you sort of get the success of one track and then you sort of expect everything else sort of.
Yeah.
How's it like dealing with that sort of stuff? Because obviously this track's now on 1 million streams on Spotify.
Yeah.
And obviously played around everywhere by some of the biggest names.
Yeah.
How is it sort of dealing with that second release and not doing as well as?
It's part of it. It's sort of like how gigs are. Like some things are going to come out and they're going to be popular, but what I learned is with every release, you some different faction of fan will come out of every new release. So I feel we were releasing pretty slowly for since COVID. And I just figured out that okay, cool, I need to just get in the studio and make as many tunes as possible. If they're not good enough to go out, don't put them out. But just work and work and work. So we've got I think we've got 6 originals ready to go. Some of them collabs, some of them not. Which is but it's that's the one thing I learned from it is you can't just sit there and wait for it. You can't. If I put 6 to 7 months in between releases, if that doesn't work. If the song that comes out doesn't work, you lose a shitload of ground. So.
Yeah. So are you going to release those songs like an EP, or do you reckon you'll release them individually?
At the moment, I think they're individual. Not all individually. I think 2 of them will team up together. Two of them will team up as an EP, and then the rest they're pretty different. So yeah.
How did you get into electronic music then? Sort of what's your background with music and then just electronic music in general?
When I was 18. There was first off, the one thing that got me was the 2004 Ministry of Sound annual CD. I got that in year 12 and just loved it. And then I've listened to that religiously, and that sort of moved away. And then I was at a club called the 21st Century in Frankston every Saturday night, just listening to house music, and that's how I sort of started loving house music, rather than because I still listen to heavy metal and hip hop as well, but that's what made that take over the staple of my life, if you will.
So you only got into sort of electronic music when you were 18.
Yeah.
So there was no early memory of even hearing a dance record or anything.
No, well, yeah, probably my mum listening to LaBouche, Be My Lover, dancing around the living room.
That's probably the only memory you'd have, I reckon.
Yeah, probably those there was I can't remember what they were called, but yeah, mum, I reckon that's probably my earliest memory of electronic music would be LaBouche, Be My Lover, and my mum dancing to it in the living room.
Was there any specific song on that Ministry of Sound CD that you sort of still to this day look back and think that was the one that made everything change?
Still my number 1 electronic music song of all time.
Oh yeah,
it's Diamonds for Her by the Superman Lovers, 2020 Vision.
Okay.
Remix has to be the 2020 Vision, not the dub.
Never heard that song actually. I might give it a listen. What was that track? What sort of?
It's sort of tribally. It's got us tribally with a deep chant, and it's it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I still love it.
Do you still play it?
I do, yeah.
Oh, you do actually?
Not like religiously, but at the right set. Like if I've got a long enough set, I like it because it's nice and chuggy, and it's just the right pace where it's not too slow, it's not too fast.
Yeah. After that, like you went to what was the club called you said again?
The 21st Century.
21st Century, right? Was that sort of like after that? Was it like just you were just an absolute diehard house music techno fan, or was it sort of another experience?
No, there was after that. I decided to start. I started promoting, so I just started like if there was a house music event going, I'd sell tickets for it, and then that's sort of what got me involved in the industry. Up like because the 21st Century is like about an hour out of town. That's where I grew up in the Mornings Peninsula, and I was in Frankston, and then from there, Future Entertainment came down and took over the club, and by that stage I was selling lots of tickets, and I think in the opening night I did like 580 people on my personal guest list, and then they said, "Oh, okay, sweet, maybe we'll get this kid involved." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I was 19."
Oh wow! So back in the day when you had to promote tickets, obviously nadays it's just more like discount codes and stuff like that. Back in the day, was it more hard tickets that you had to actually sell?
Yeah. So I remember there's One Love, which was also in Sydney. They were doing like One Love on the Move. So they came down and I knew the guys, a guy named Nick Foley and Daniel Russo, who were like involved there at the time. They introduced me to Frank, who's started Stereosonic and Draw, and so they said, "Sean, we want you to run the promoters." I said, "Sweet." And they gave me 1,100 tickets, and they said, "Oh, how many promoters are you going to use?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not going to use any." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, I just think I could sell them by myself." Saying that, I gave 100 tickets to who's now my business partner, Corey, and then I sat at a cafe. I sent text messages every day. "Hey, I'm sitting at this cafe between midday and 4 p.m. Come down if you want the tickets," and sold all 1,100 tickets in like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Jesus Christ! And that was like hard. Like you had to actually sell the hard tickets.
Hard tickets, yeah. No discount codes. All, yeah.
Wow, that's how was it like doing that? Because you'd obviously take a percentage of the tickets as a promoter.
Yeah, but back then it was $20 tickets and you take $2 a ticket. So but I was 18 years old, like making $2,000. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah. How was it like being a promoter back then?
There's a lot more hustle. Like I found before being a promoter. Being a promoter now, advertising, content, that sort of stuff. Back then, like Facebook was still pretty new. Like it was a lot more hustle, a lot more being out, getting numbers. Like I think I had a look the other day. If you type the word promo into my phone, I've still got more numbers. There's maybe 30 or 40 numbers without names that I don't know who they are. But I used to just save it as promo. So then you go through and you just press promo, and I just click and send to everyone that's in promo separate text messages, just collecting names and numbers, data, doing that sort of stuff. There's a lot more groundwork.
Do you reckon that was? What do you prefer?
I prefer now.
Oh, now?
I prefer now. Don't get me wrong. I think you should have to do that first to then do now, because it just means it's all part of the grind, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't trade it, but I do prefer the way I do it now. But then again, I'm sure if I was younger, I could go out and do. I'd go and sell hard copy tickets. Now you might sell 100 hard copy tickets out of a 5,000 event.
Yeah, no, it's all difficult now with digital and stuff because. I mean, it's easier, it's more accessible, but I think it's more competition now because anyone can be promoted now.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, I think, I don't know, obviously I wasn't even that old enough, but was it more selective in terms of who was a promoter or?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, you didn't want the wrong person shouting your name out because you literally, if you're a host or a promoter, and you are for instance, you'd want to be a host at, say, there's a club called Motel. Everyone wants to be a host at Birdhouse Fridays. And if you have the wrong person that was doing it and shouting the wrong name out, get the wrong people to the door, it's just cause trouble, cause drama, not as cool, that sort of stuff.
So you sort of had to market, you sort of had to brand yourself in a way.
Yeah. You have to brand yourself by being out, being fun. That's pretty much how it was.
But you do have a bunch of free parties, I'm assuming.
All of them are free. All of them are free.
That would be an experience. How was it like? Yeah. What club were you mainly promoting for back then?
Mainly back then, I used to work at Motel, Boutique, and Q-Bar. Q-Bar was probably my main one. Q-Bar doesn't exist anymore, but it was there for a good 11 or 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then sort of through that promoting, you got into DJing and then...
Well, I sort of started at the same time when I was I think it was about 20. I got a good tax return, like from working at my family's Telstra shop, and and I bought 2 CDJs and a mixer, and then I would sit at home and I'd just annoy my dad for like 20 hours a week at least.
Just DJing.
Yeah, well, his bedroom was above my bedroom, and I just set them up on top of my TV cabinet and just like, and his bed would be right above it, and I'd just be play. I had like one lesson for like mate just showed me pretty much the basics of what to do, and then I just play and play. Like,
yeah, how was that like playing back in those days?
It was good. It was harder. It was harder now with all the technology, but like it was awesome. I still remember stuff like CDs. Like if I played gigs on Friday and then I had gigs on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I playing Sunday night, and I'd just be like going through my CDs and just like finding them caked in alcohol because like spilt drinks and like CD skipping and like the BPM counter only used to be 28 and then 29. There was no in the middle, no 0.1, 0.2,
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So you had to learn how to do it by ear, which I think shaped the way for a lot of the older DJs how they can fix DJs can fix any mix now because they learn by ear. The new school DJs are still like, don't get me wrong, not all of them, but like it's like if it's out, and it's like they haven't learned to do it by ear. They're doing relying a lot on technology.
Back then, was it like you had to put CDs into the CDJs, didn't you?
Yeah,
CDs.
That's why they're called CDJs.
Well, now they're just like called CDJs because it's just like the brand.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you can still put CDs in.
You can?
Yeah.
Even in like the new 3000s and everything?
For sure.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was just all...
I'll have to check that. I'm pretty sure that, but I'm pretty sure... I just remember you can still see the slot there.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Right, okay. Well, I don't think anyone does anyway.
Yeah, no.
You wouldn't. It's all USB now.
Yeah.
But that's like... You mentioned like new school DJs and like sort of older school DJs.
Yeah.
What's like the biggest difference that you're seeing now? Between back then and
back then and now? I just think there's... It's a lot easier to get started, which is great. Like, but don't get me wrong, everyone wants to express themselves by DJing 100%. I just think there's a lot of people playing a lot of the same music. Yeah, so it's like, which is fine. Like, it's fine as long as if you can distinguish your own sound as a younger DJ. I think that's like one of the most important things to do.
What's like your tips for distinguishing someone's sound?
If you're just first starting, find 3 or 4 songs that you like that sort of sound similar, and then like run through those artists from Beatport or run through the record labels that release them, or start a Spotify radio playlist and like go through and just find new music. And eventually most DJs do find their own sound, but I think like if you can it doesn't have to be the same artist, but if you can find your own style, like I know I can play across 3 or 4 genres, but it'll still sound like me because I know what my sort of sound is. And eventually the algorithms in all your things they pick up on that, like over a period of time, if you like drill that into your own, your Spotify and that sort of stuff, and like all your suggestions, and it's a great way to dive down the rabbit hole on Beatport, going through this artist released on this label. What does this label release? Or this label released this artist. Or what else does that artist do? I think that's a really good way to do it.
Yeah. Do you reckon you've developed your sound with you and Ollie through Micro Memories, or do you reckon you're still in that process?
No, we've definitely got our sound now.
Oh, you got your sound?
Yeah, definitely.
What would you describe it as then?
It's not. I wouldn't say genre. We are chuggy, energetic. So we like uplifting stuff. You won't find any mellow tracks in any of our sets or anything we make really. Mm-hmm. It's always like just stuff that moves you forward, but it's not like. When I say moves you forward, it doesn't mean it's got to be sitting at quick BPM. So like, between 127 and 130 is like where we sit usually. But it's just always got a chuggy energy. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think because obviously that sort of music is very, obviously nowadays it's a lot quicker. Everything's like 145 plus 150. How have you sort of been able to stay true to that 128 to 134 range, even though nowadays people prefer... your 140 is still considered slow and like 145 upwards.
Well, yeah, look, depends on the event and how it goes. But one thing I will say about this is there's always these phases of music for like people. That's like, I'm not saying it's a complete phase. That, by the way, just for a correction, but I think that the way it's going, it's getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and it can't go that quick for that long. So I just think that the way it would happen is the effect that it will have on music will be that it would once it slows down, the new normal will be like 135 or between. I think that's the effect it will have on music, like electronic music. That's not for all genres, obviously. Like the minimals and stuff like that, they're going to stay down. They always have, always will. But yeah, the way we've sort of stayed relevant is we've just playing. We don't really play that much faster. But it's more about just keeping them interested. So maybe mixing a little bit quicker, playing stuff that has like quicker hooks in it and like that sort of stuff. Like, and just make sure it's always got energy. If it doesn't have energy, when the normal is 145 BPM, like kids are not going to stand around just to wait for you to like play the next song. Like, I think that's the reason why we've sort of haven't completely dropped off, even though normal is like 145, is because whenever we play, we always give energy out, and I think energy is the most important. Like that's what's most important to me anyway.
Well, energy doesn't always mean faster.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I mean by that. Like if we can do energy, then I don't have to compensate by playing at 145.
That's what I mean. Like you guys are playing like a slow BPM, but the energy doesn't correlate with BPM.
Yeah,
it's about the sort of elements in the song and the actual song choice itself, making sure the songs themselves have quote-unquote energy.
Yeah. I think I've said that word about 35, 40 times now.
Yeah, but energy is important, but not in the sense of faster music.
Yeah.
But in terms of like production? So obviously, I'm not sure your sort of process or your mentality around it, but obviously I feel like people getting to the scene now are thinking of, okay, well, everyone loves fast stuff. I'm going to make fast stuff without realizing that maybe they don't actually enjoy making the fast stuff. They just prefer making slower stuff, drive your melodic techno.
I found that our production has sped up. So like when I say that, instead we used to write songs at like a good one's written at 126 BPM. Now I find us writing between like 128, 130. And the reason you do that is because for me anyway, this is my personal view. If I write a song at 130 BPM, it's slow enough for slower DJs to slow it down, and it's fast enough for fast DJs to speed it up. If I'm running 126, it's never going to get played by anyone that plays a bit faster. Now, it won't sound the same, 130 to 140, that's too quick, but it's more accessible if it sits in that middle period than it is if it,
So you sort of take into account that other DJs might be playing it. So
if it doesn't sound good, I'm going to slow it down. If it needs to go faster, I'm going to speed it up. But in my head when I'm writing, I really think of like hitting that middle ground. It'll keep you relevant. Like we've got a song coming out with Rory Marshall, who writes hard techno. So we found a good middle ground with him. So he usually writes like 135 to 140. So we've got a song coming out at 133 BPM, which is the quickest we've ever written at. But it's also probably slowest, like not the slowest, but around. It's a slow song for Rory, but we've sort of found that middle ground.
Yeah. What about in terms of just like, I guess, jumping on trends or trying to follow trends, not sort of what's the word? What am I looking for? Not sort of falling in for the trends and not falling for what's popular at the moment and staying true to like the slow, like the stuff that you enjoy. So
I just like, if I'm going to make music, it takes hours. I don't want to make. I want to make what I want to play. That's what I want. It's always been. If you have a look at any releases we've done, it's to what I want to play at the time. When I say I'm Ollie and I, to what we want to play at the time is what we sort of make. So, it's like, I think that if you stick to that in your head when you're producing, it's like, I really want to play a song like this so in your head, I'm like, I want to play this on this stage at this point. So then you're like, okay, cool. Let's make a song that not resembles, but is inspired by that sort of song. Because if you don't want to play your own music, it's not worth putting out, in my eyes. Yeah.
Why? I guess in that sense, from that going on from that, why do you enjoy the slower stuff?
Yeah, it's funny. It's called slower stuff because
I that's a shit way to put it.
I'm just thinking about my business partner just cringing because he thinks I play too quick anyway.
Really?
No, my business partner in Circus, the nightclub. He's like, no, we should be playing at 125. I'm like, that's fine, but people are going to go home. Like, that's why I was laughing at it.
Oh,
anyway.
okay, I don't mean slower in like a bad way.
No, I know. I was just laughing at my own head. Sorry, what was the question again?
Like, why do you enjoy sort of housey melodic stuff, 132 BPM
Yeah.
stuff.
I just find that's a good pace to dance to. So like a lot, like I like going. I'll pretty much, you'll see me at Revolver most Sunday mornings after gigs. Not playing all the time, but just because I like to sit there and I like to have a dance. Because that's what got me into music in the first place, is sitting in a two-step in the one spot. You know, like sitting there listening to music, getting ideas. That's what I love. So if it gets any faster than that, well, usually when you get faster than that, also like the mood changes. It gets more aggressive, to me anyway. Usually the drugs change. Like, you know, like the faster it goes seems to be the worse the drugs. That sort of stuff.
Because I feel like the newer generation, like people like they were born in the 2000s, enjoy the faster stuff now, like the hard groove and the hard techno and then the very fast trance sort of stuff.
Yep.
Whereas I feel like yourself, you still have those trance tracks, but those trance tracks back then were very slow.
Yeah, I love old trance. I've got an event just dedicated just to old trance. We do reminisce trance, and it's literally only stuff from 1995 up to 2010 is the limit on the music, and that's it. And I love that stuff, and that's quick. That runs 140, which is slow for
Nowadays.
faster, but it's still but yeah, it's not aggressive. And like, don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place like for aggressive techno, and I love it. So I've spent hours in the burger and I've done all that sort of stuff. But like, as far as me sitting there, I find the music at that pace I can sit in a good dance to, have fun to, like, you know,
Yeah, not like waste energy jumping around and
yeah,
shit.
no, and don't get me wrong, like there's nothing wrong with it all. That's just my preference.
Yeah, no, of course. I feel like everyone has preferences. And I feel like, as you said, the music will slow down eventually. Yeah. Like, as I said, it can't go too...
It can't go too much faster.
Yeah, otherwise then...
Unless you grimes and you outsource your BPM and everything runs at double pace like she just did at Coachella.
I actually did not see that.
Oh, okay. Did you see the controversy?
No, I saw that it was an absolute train wreck, but I never actually saw any videos coming. I saw that she was just like screaming and shit.
Yeah,
and then she started
like she said afterwards. She said she outsourced her record box, which is like the like.
Wait, what do you mean she outsourced her record box?
She got someone else to put her record box together.
Like her music.
Her music, yeah.
So she didn't even know she was the USB.
And the songs were coming out at double BPM, double the BPM they should have been.
What the fuck? That's lesson learned. Don't outsource curate your record box yourself. Don't outsource it. I'm sure no one actually does that. I don't know why she would.
I don't know anyone that's ever done that.
That's a strange move.
Yeah.
It's like just like laziness to a whole nother degree.
It's a whole different type of celebrity.
Yeah, but I want to sort of, we've talked about like your creative process, and then we've touched a lot on sort of back in the day. Obviously, you were around for the heyday of the Melbourne and the Sydney scene. Yep. Sort of, how would you compare Melbourne back in like the early 2000s to Melbourne in the early 2020s?
Okay, sweet. Melbourne. Well, I turned 18 in 2004, so we won't do early 2000s because
mid 2000s. Mid 2000s, yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't ride a dinosaur to school. Like, so, I found. Okay, well, back then, the music. Like, it was all house music, and when I say that, by that I mean like it was just a lot more loving. Like, I know that's a weird word to use, but like, and most of the songs, if you listen to the lyrics, it's all about loving music and or loving a girl, or like, you know, or it was quirky and different. Like, for some reason the song came in and says there was a song, I think it was about having sex anyway, but it was like called Fix My Sink. It's like Fix My Sink. It was like, you know, like using different quirky sort of things like that. As far as the scene goes, I think it goes through waves. Like, I think it depends on whether. I find that I was thinking about this when I read sort of the questionnaire. Like, I think the clubs get stronger as the festivals get weaker, but I think that when the festivals are big, that the clubs, because there's only so much money someone can spend. Like, they're going to spend, you know, $100 weekly on a festival. On a club. Or they're going to save up and spend their, you know, $1,500 a weekend on at a music festival. And there's only so much, unless the average price of the average wage lifts, like we said before, there's only so much that people can, you know, sort of spend. So it goes through waves as we were talking about before. The festivals are dropping down at the moment, so that probably means the rise of the clubs in Melbourne again and around the times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just found back then there was a lot more. All the festivals were one dayers instead of the camping festivals, which I personally prefer the camping festivals. But that there was a lot more clubs around, and there was a lot more options.
Yeah. What was like a memory that you have? Was there like a particular memory back in the day that you sort of look back and think that was like you look back on?
Yeah, I think One Love at the Prince Wales Band Room was like probably it was just all time for us. It was like the biggest acts in the world. That's when Nova picked up. John Corse and Grant Smiley were doing. One Love. That's when Nova picked up. Over John Corse and Grant Smiley were doing Nova Nation, and that's when sort of like in Australia anyway, house music and electronic music got commercialized. When I say commercialized, it's like it's always a good thing for it to be commercialized. It just doesn't mean you have to play commercial music, but if the norm is electronic music and not hip hop, then being an underground DJ, it still gives you more room to move, more money to earn, that sort of stuff. And I think One Love, for me personally, was the start of that, like getting bigger.
What year was that in?
I was there all through. Well, it was open for I think 15 years, I think, but I was there from 2004 to 2006, 2007. Not even working. Not working, just going with my friends. Like, yeah.
So what was so special about it that it would sort of put house music and electronic music on the map in Australia, or just in Melbourne?
Hot people, good music. Just like I've had this flashback of just everyone wearing like fluoro colors, but it was in at the time, just like the people like John Corse, who's like he's like the godfather of house music in Australia. He's always done all the Ministry of Sound CDs and that sort of stuff. Just listening to him on a Saturday night was just like what everyone wanted to do.
Was he there like a resident?
Yeah, he was their longest standing resident. And there's guys like Kaz James. Andy Murphy was there as well. Grant Smiley, a guy named Derek Kay. Yeah,
Derek Kay. No, that's Derek May. I'm thinking of
Derek May.
Derek Kay. Well, so it was called.
Kaz James was like one half of the Body Rockers,
right? Which
is like, I'm not going to sing, but like I like the way you move.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that was from that era. Then I think and One Love was here in Sydney at the Arts Factory, and it was in Adelaide as well.
So they did a whole thing. And when you say Nova, do you mean like Nova as in...
Nova, the radio station.
The radio station, yeah.
They used to, every Saturday night, they used to do... That was the first time that anyone has done... Like now everyone does... you've got... I can't remember... Triple J's got one and Kiss FM's got one. They've all got one. But back then, that was the first one.
Nova,
yeah.
And
so every Saturday night from like 8 p.m, I think.
They were hosting it.
They host the show, yeah.
And that was just house music?
Just house music, yeah.
Oh, wow. So like... What sort of acts? Would they have any internationals come down, or was it mainly just Aussies?
Yeah. No, they hosted it. I'm sure they hosted a heap of people, but like, I know that like, for instance, Grant was like good friends with the Swedish House Mafia, so like the Axwells, owns a bar with him in LA now. Pretty sure they still own a bar together. But yeah, but that's that's like the sort of acts they like had through, and that's when that sort of music was bigger in Melbourne. I think that launched, like them being on Nova. I personally think launched a lot of the dominating music in Australia, because it was Australia wide.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I didn't realise that Nova was the one that sort of... Would you say that was like the turning point for Australian music or dance music in Australia, or do you think it was...
Not complete, like, I can't say that for sure, but like what I know that is that after they had Nova, there was a lot more dance music on commercial radio. Yeah.
Yeah, like what sort of music was it on there? Like what's
Midas Touch, like that sort of era, or sort of all came from there. Lola's theme, like they all came from that sort of era, like that around that time.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I think that's two good examples. There's plenty more, but yeah,
I'm sure I'm not going to make you say it all on the show.
Let me just get I've got a playlist called Back in My Day. I'm sure it's in there.
Oh really? Yeah. But was Revs around back then?
Yeah, Rev's been running for 23, 24 years now.
So since 2000?
Longer, probably, yeah.
Oh, and how was Revs back then?
Revs back then was great. Revs was like, even I remember just hoping I'd get into Revolver when I was like 19 years old. Like, just head down, look at like, yeah, it was
So like the Berghain.
yeah. But you're allowed to speak English when you get to the door.
Tough bouncers.
Yeah.
Sort of look you up and down, then send you off or let
Yeah.
you in. How would you compare revs back from the 2000s to now?
You know what I say to people that say that it's changed, it's not the same? I just say that no, we just got older, and the people that are coming in now, that we used to be their age, like, I think the music's still great there. Sundays, like, I like to get there after 7 a.m. just because that's when the light comes in and like all the people from Saturday night get scared and leave, and there's a bit more space. But no, Revolver's my happy place. In October, me and Sunshine just did a 10.5 hour set there.
Oh shit! How's that?
That was awesome. It was for the celebration of her 20 years of DJing at Revolver. So she did 15 hours all up, but asked me to do, well, it was meant to be 8, but she left me. she got me to come on early and then left me by myself for a while. But yeah, so we did 10.5 hour set, which was like awesome.
How's it like playing a 10.5 hour set? Did you plan it? You can only plan so much.
Yeah, so basically the theme of the day was Revolver anthems. Like, we didn't tell anyone that, but that's sort of where we're headed at. So we started planning it like 3 months before. We just made a joint Spotify list, and like whenever we'd be out or whenever, like, we just add some things, and then either of us could delete anyone else, like the other person's tracks out of there, and we ended up with like 16.5 hours worth of music.
Oh wow!
So we couldn't even, so that was like our guideline. And there was no like half the tracks we didn't even play, but like that's sort of like I always find it was a good way to get your head straight. Is that I've got this important gig coming up. Sweet, I'm not going to sit there for just like in one go and just go, sweet, this is what I should play. But what I will do is go, all right, cool. I'll start a Spotify playlist and then just like adding songs to it. Then look at it again, delete tracks, and then when it comes close to the date, yeah, okay, sweet. I never like plan out sets except for like. We planned Rainbow and we planned the pitch set and one strawberry set. So the other ones were planned out of the hundreds of sets. But like putting a Spotify playlist together is a really, for me, really good way to like figure out where my vibe's going to go for that day. Yeah.
And then how did you cut down from 16.5 hours to like?
We didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No, we just put it in a playlist and we just like, I just downloaded all the tracks and she downloaded all the same. So we both have our own lists, and then I just picked them and played them as I go. Whatever got left out, got left out.
What was your like mind state? What was your state of mind after 10 hours of DJing?
I was wrecked, and I was like shaped like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like worst posture I've ever seen. So
lower back pain, definitely had to get a massage afterwards.
Yeah. I actually had to go and play another gig afterwards.
Oh really? So you played like what, 12 hours essentially?
Yeah. We went and played at Reptile that night. You know. At the old Tramp, yeah.
Far out. Big day. When was that?
October 23rd, I think.
Okay. So last year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But you've been playing at Revs for how long now?
I've been playing Revs for like 15 years. I'm never a resident, which is fine, but I actually live above Revolver.
Oh, wow.
So like there's the front door, and I'm next door and I can see Revolver from my balcony.
Oh, shit.
So it's Revolver, so people are always cancelling. So I reckon I play every third week, I reckon.
Well, do you remember your first set at Revolver? At Revs?
No, I don't. No, I think it was
Do you remember one of your first?
One of my first sets. Yeah, I remember playing Saturday morning, like 8 till 9:30 a.m. Helping for Sunshine, who I did the 10-hour set with. I remember there was no cage back then; it was just a big bull bar. And I think a friend of mine's got a photo of me like drinking a glass of red wine while playing at the Revolver when there's like just bare, yeah. But I love playing at Revs. It's one of my favourite rooms to play. When the sound's good, it's amazing.
What room? Is that the cage? The room with the cage?
Yeah.
Because they had the other room, didn't they? The big...
Yeah.
Because I've been to Revs since 2019. I've actually been there for like 6 years.
Yeah.
I've only been there once, but I remember they had like that big room in the side.
Yeah.
And they have the cage.
Yeah, the cage. The cage is the main room. So I always say at night I want to play on the stage, and day I want to play in the cage. Yeah.
I'm as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of like, I guess going into it, like how has it changed for you playing there from when you first played there, from when you first started playing there to now?
Playing there, I just think I'm really comfortable there now. So if you know a room and you spend enough time in any club, you know what I don't know, you sort of know what style you need to play in music to like A, to work with the crowd, B, to work with the sound system. Like if you spend enough time in one venue, you get good at it. So like I just find it's my comfortable place. Like I can some sets, some venues it'd be an hour and a half and I'd be like, whoa, this is taking ages. I look at my watch and I'm like 20 minutes into the set. At Revolver, I'm like, fuck, where did 3 hours go? Yeah.
I think Revs is good from what I've heard. They play longer sets. You play longer sets there as well.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of the time, like if there's an international on, it might be an hour and a half. But if you're just getting booked for a set, it's usually 2 to 3 hours, which is, personally, I prefer to play 4 hours at Revolver than play an hour because of just hands in the air all the time sort of stuff. So.
Yeah. Why do you enjoy the longest? Because obviously I feel like it's a heated topic between DJs, but like a lot of DJs will agree. Why do you enjoy the longer sets, like the 3 to 4 hour sets? What's so different between those and the hour of power?
I just call it. I like to sit, like we like to sit into sets. So like when Ollie and I play, we could like if you play an hour, for instance, if Ollie and I play an hour and we've released, I think we're on 7 or 8 tunes and we've got 4 or 5 new ones that we want to release. If you've got an hour, you get about 13 songs, and like that's maybe 14 if you like, mixing it up a little bit quicker. But so we play 4 of our own tunes, and so we play 3 of our own tunes, and then play 2 unreleased ones. You have like 7 other songs you can pick to go in an hour. Like, and there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
So we get like 6 mixes each, which I find that. But we could I just like sitting into a set and like you can take your time a bit more, let songs play out. I just find a lot of DJs who play hours of power don't let songs. People made the music. I'm not going to play out every track. But people made the music, spend a lot of time with it. You can at least play the intro, get it in there, and give it enough time to like, do its thing, and then play the out.
I guess 4 hour sets are good because as you said, you can let the track play out. Yeah. And you don't have to worry about with like hour sets. People usually just
it's got to be bang 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 bang, and like it's a bit of a you call it TikTok attention span, like, and that's not like TikTok's great for what it is. It's a great platform to produce promote your music, but but it means that they got 15-second attention spans a lot of the time. So if it doesn't hit it straight away, but if the people that I say will go to Revolver or like go to Circus on a Sunday night, they're there for the night. That's what they're going to do. They want to be there, so they're going to stay a bit more patience, a bit more like
I think you and I were talking about this in the car a bit earlier as well. That I think nowadays, I don't know how it is in Melbourne, but from what I'm seeing, a lot more people are just going out to see someone.
Yeah.
Which is it's fair enough, I guess, because that's what clubs sort of how they sell their tickets and stuff. But people nowadays aren't really like going out for the sole purpose of like just going out to listen to some music. They're going out to see this person. They're going out to see that person.
Like that's great for artists. Like especially if you break through, like if you can break through and people look at the Fred Again phenomenon, for instance. People just want to go see his music. They'll do anything to go there.
Yeah.
He sold out Revolver by putting up a story on the way there.
Did he play Revolver?
Yeah, he did a Revolver set.
Oh, I don't. That was just when he recently, right? Because I know that his whole tour in Australia was like last minute.
Yeah.
Or like maybe it wasn't last minute.
Wasn't last minute.
Maybe it wasn't last minute. Yeah. He made it look like he was last minute.
There was a couple of months in plan. Yeah,
you can't just come to Australia and play at the Opera House that was planned.
Yeah,
but like that's I guess the TikTok attention span, as you said, people sort of want to be there for an hour. Hear as many drops as possible without actually hearing music play through and enjoying it and being there for different reasons rather than just hearing drops.
It's like we were talking about before, where you got to get with social media, you got to get their attention in the first 3 seconds or they're going to move on. It's not as quick in music, but I find that that's a lot of the hour sets do. It's like bang, 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 So,
but I feel like you can only I guess. You can't really blame the DJ for it as well because they're doing their job.
No,
they're doing their job.
They're doing a great job. But I just find that the right crowd on the right night, you can sit there for longer and it's better.
Are there any other venues in Melbourne that are sort of that same? Besides, obviously, you have yourself, Circus, and then you also have Revs.
Yeah.
But are there anything else?
You got 161. Yeah, Electric's doing that now, especially on Sundays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Electric's always done longer sets, and I just find the Sundays is probably the best music there as well. Then there's the Howler North Side, which is the guys from Stable Music do a really good job of that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. I guess, yeah. 'Cause from what I'm seeing, I feel like the main ones in Melbourne that I'm seeing, obviously Revs is a staple, but you got XC54.
Yeah, XC54 and Reptile, they do more quicker, like a lot of the quicker music. Reptile does both. Like Reptile, for instance, has Odd Mob and that sort of stuff. Like like 2 weeks ago, but yeah, like XC54 is usually quicker, but it didn't used to be. The old XC54 was one of our favorite clubs to play at.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Oh, it was like it's just a room that we felt comfortable in. We used to and they used to always, we used to always play 3 hours there, but that was before everything got
faster.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll go back to a point where it's just like 3 hours that's the norm? Because I'm not sure how it used to be.
You'll never do. No, never. No, 3 hour sets have never been the norm. That's just sort of a revolver thing, to be honest. Circus, we usually do 1.5 to 2 hours as well. 3 hours is like, because Revolve's open from Saturday night until Monday morning, they can do it.
Yeah, they can afford to. But back in the day, was it longer sets?
Yeah. Before my time, but like 2 hours is like always been pretty much the norm.
Even like during when you were going out?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, 2 hours is always roundabout.
I think 2 hours is I see 2 hours happens now. You see 2 hours pretty commonly now. An hour and a half to 2 hours.
Well, you always get the headliner always has 2 hours, but everyone else is like
an hour.
Yeah, stacked in there. Yeah.
Trying to cram everyone in.
Yeah.
To one. We mentioned Circus a few times already. You obviously own. Do you own the whole club, or do you own part of it?
I own a percentage of the club with the guys that own Electric, the good company bar group. So, I've been working there for 18 years, on and off.
Oh, wow.
But I've only been an owner since COVID.
And how did you get into that?
I helped launch Electric for those guys, and like everyone in my industry I know went a bit broke during COVID, so I went back and just started working for my mate Nick, and I helped them launch that and helped them turn it into 7 days a week, and as a reward they said, "Oh, you can be a share owner in the new club."
Oh, awesome!
When it opens, yeah.
How's it been, sort of owning being a part owner of a club?
It's good. I've done it before. I've done different clubs and bars around Melbourne.
Owned?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah. So I used to have a share of like one called Bond, and I had a pizza bar, and I've done all that sort of stuff. But I love it. I spend every Saturday night and every Sunday night there. If I'm not doing market memories gigs, that's the only thing. That was in my contract.
Yeah.
So if I'm not playing a gig, I'll make sure I'm there, and it's good. I love.
Yeah. What sort of made you want to get into like owning different sort of venues?
Owning a club. One of my before I bought a share of a club once, someone just said, "Aren't you sick of making other people money? Don't you want to earn some yourself?" And I thought, that's pretty good. And and I'm like, I don't see it black and white like that, but my head's like, okay, cool. That's like, I should probably buy something, have my skin in the game.
Yeah. What happened with the other ones? Were they sort of just?
Oh, it went well. So I sold out.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it sort of just like fizzled out, sort of. Yeah.
No, they're still running.
Oh, they're still running.
Yeah. They're just like not.
Oh, they're not like your main.
No, they're just like, I don't own a share anymore. But like they're just not. It's not really my genre.
Okay.
It's like not anymore anyway.
Yeah, fair. But how's it been running Circus?
Circus is great. It's like my babies is Sunday nights. I love Sunday nights. We're a bit of an industry spot on Sunday. We're the only, like, us and Revolver are the only place open past 3 a.m. on a Sunday night. So it's sort of like we're the meeting of all where we all come together. Yeah.
You tell me, it's like the hospitality night where all the bartenders and the
bartenders,
chefs.
waiters, chefs, managers of other venues, security from other venues, dancing girls. Everyone just comes to the same spot. Yeah.
Is it busy?
It's busy from 3 o'clock. Like we're decent enough until like 1:30. From there to 1:30, and then from 1:30 onwards it starts getting busy. But our busiest time is from 3:30 until 5:30 a.m. on a Monday morning.
I find that fairly insane that like you guys are actually busy on like a Sunday/Monday morning. Like
we always like. For instance, we have Wongo playing for us tomorrow, and I just and when I was talking to his manager, I'm just like, just so you know, this 3:30 till 5:30, that is the main set time. I'm not putting, and he's right back. That's fine. I remember from last time. So like, it's the people don't really understand it, but like, if everywhere shuts we say all roads lead to Circus, because if everywhere's shutting, Revolver shuts at 5 usually. We sort of stay open till 7:30, 8 a.m. Try to shut before 9 a.m. before the health food store next door opens, because like we just don't have the same clientele.
Yeah, imagine some health freaks walking through, and then there's like a club just blasting house music. Yeah. But like I find that insane that you guys have been able to. Maybe it's just a testament to like the Melbourne scene. Yeah. But like in Sydney, I would not personally. This is just me from what I've seen. There's nothing open after Lost Sundays closes at till midnight.
Yeah,
Lost Sundays finishes at midnight, and I think there's a new.
What about Sash by Night?
Sash by Night, yes, that happens, but I think as well it doesn't go too late.
Yeah,
I'm not exactly sure how late Sash by Night goes.
Yeah, I don't think it's because it's not a home venue anymore. I think it's a carousel. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but I know that they have like the long Sash by Night where they have like where they goes to like the infamous Sash breakfast and stuff like that. But I don't think I've seen like a proper Sash by Night in a while. Yeah. I think they mainly do them for the long weekends now. Okay. Because I feel like Sash by Night every single Sunday. Sydney's not cut out for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I just find it pretty crazy because there's a new thing. I don't know how common it is, but it's called Afters. But it basically is it's a kick-ons from Lost Sundays.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much it's actually doing. Yeah. What's doing at the moment. But yeah, after like Sydney after Lost Sundays, everything just closes. Yeah. And same thing with Sash. Sash closes at 10, 11. Yeah. And then everything's done. So I think it's a testament to the Melbourne nightlife that you guys can actually have a headline slot at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I think we've got there's about 11 24-hour licenses in Melbourne. They can run 24 hours. No, not all of them get used 24 hours, but they have the option to if they want to. I think one of the old clubs that has one is actually now a supermarket, but it still has a liquor license because they sell booze. So if that supermarket was turned back into a club, it could run 24 hours. But yeah, like Circus has one, Revolver has one, 161 has one, Boutique on Greville Street, which is barely open anymore, that has one. Tramp had one in the city, but that's not there anymore. There's like a 3-level goth club in the city, which like
goth club.
Yeah, like a gothic club. Which has one. But like I can't remember the name of that, but I just know that I just remember looking up licenses, and that was one of the clubs. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, because I remember again. Keep knowing back to the car, but we were having a chat then, and then you mentioned that obviously I mentioned that lockout law sort of fucked up Sydney nightlife, and most people can agree with that. Yeah. I think with COVID as well, just exemplified how shit everything went. But you were saying that I personally didn't know this, but Melbourne also had threats of lockout laws because of like violence and things like that. But you said that it did happen. The public there was a public outcry for those laws and didn't get passed.
Yeah, in Melbourne, our industry, we all like bound together. We hired a political like a student from Monash Uni named Andrew Ranger, and he was studying politics, and he was a part of the nightclub community, like the nightlife community, and we all got together. We started a campaign, and within like 2-3 weeks, we all marched on Parliament steps, and we got everything shut down.
So they just didn't sign.
No, there was I think there was like 10,000-11,000 of us that all met up and they marched up Spring Street with like proper protests. And it's like I think from my understanding, I could be wrong, but the laws went in Sydney, then you tried to fight them, where we heard they were coming in and we fought them before they went in.
Right. Yeah, because I wasn't around during those lockout laws, but I did not know that was a thing. Yeah. I thought Sydney was the main city getting hit, was the only city getting hit with the lockout laws, but I didn't realise Melbourne was.
No, they tested them in regional areas that were violent, and they tried to bring it in Melbourne. There was lots of problems on King Streets with lots of fights and violence, and so people died leaving clubs, but not like leaving the actual clubs. They were just like people around the streets getting beaten up, I
think that's the main thing with Sydney was like the violence at King's Cross as well, especially. But yeah, that's a very interesting sort of. Yeah, I didn't realize that's sort of how it happened. Were you a part of those protests or part of that march as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, how was it?
Yeah, it was good. It was like we sort of bound together, like people that didn't really like each other got like just like all in the same march, all in the same boat. So yeah, it was just like it's good to see the community all in one spot. Saying that was a long time ago, like when it was about 2 years before the lockout laws tried to come in here.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So Oh wow, okay. I thought they were sort of simultaneous.
Yeah, no, that was like maybe. Oh, I could be wrong on that, but I know it was about a year before, and then I just remember hearing people speak about it at an electronic music conference in Sydney that used to go on called EMC, and then like how to fight it, and then like and then it sort of started happening here.
Oh wow, okay. So Melbourne was going to be the first.
Yeah.
How different? Like just speculating, how different do you reckon everything could have been if Melbourne did get the lockout laws?
Oh, it'd be completely ruined.
Yeah, like you could only imagine like what sort of like how detrimental that could have been to the nightlife.
No, like the main thing is like I'm sure the people that had the lockout laws here, because they locked it. They if you're licensed till 5 a.m. and you're locked out at 2 a.m. and you can only open till 3 a.m., you're losing like 3 hours of trade, which means you're losing 3 hours of staff. Like you lose staff, you lose, all that sort of stuff. Like it just would have been terrible.
Yeah, because you couldn't imagine like what would happen to clubs like Revs. Like you never know what could have happened because there were massive. I can't name any off the top of my head, but there were massive clubs in Sydney that
didn't make it
because like they just couldn't. On the Cross as well, probably there was a lot of the clubs out there. I wasn't old enough to go out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, there were clubs out there that were, and I was saying in the car as well. But at one point, Sydney was challenging Melbourne, or if Sydney was better than Melbourne at one point.
Yeah,
but like again, that's rudely speaking and subjective to everyone. Not everyone has to agree with that statement, but some people were comparing Sydney to like Europe, or even Australia as a whole to Europe, and then the lockout laws sort of killed it completely.
Yeah.
So what's your experience with that sort of stuff?
So our experience with the
like having Sydney sort of just I guess die. In a matter of years.
Well, personally, I'm from the outside looking in. I know like there's a few people doing well, like running day parties, but like I just know like there used to be a real, even though there was a heap of violence around like the Cross and that sort of stuff, I knew there used to be a lot of life there as well. It's been slowly turned into apartment buildings as far as I know.
Yeah, pretty much. That's actually a thing. A lot of Sydney clubs, from what I've heard as well, have been turned into basically residential commercial buildings.
Not only that, but it affects other stuff. Like it affects the local businesses, like all the food, the restaurants. Like you're not going to get as much money out of like one person buying an apartment with two, like say there's like two people living in it as you would have of a nightlife that's going to be there every Saturday night buying food, buying drinks, buying, from even convenience stores and stuff like that. Like it's a big part of the economy.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's hopefully if there's any government officials listening, they hear that. I
didn't do it.
But no, I think it's a good point though. Like, people don't see that the nightlife is such a big part of the economy.
Yeah.
So it's a bit shitty, but I think Sydney's on its way back up from what I've heard.
No, it looks good. What was one of the venues got a 24-hour license? Was the Abercrombie?
The Abercrombie, yes. Never been there, but I've heard it's a very good.
That's where Sash originally was.
Oh, really? Sash was...
Yeah, but like they rebuilt the Abercrombie bar, but like it used to be Sash Sundays at the Abercrombie.
Oh, back in the day?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, before the development was there, yeah.
Right, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah. a lot of lessons learned. Sort of, I guess I want to touch on, back to sort of market memory, something you mentioned before the recording, is that you mentioned that it's hard for Melbourne DJs to break into Sydney.
Yeah.
Why? What sort of like...
Not all Melbourne DJs, but it's harder for... we've always found that like just the music's different from Melbourne to Sydney.
In what sense?
Well, just what's popular. Mm-hmm. I find that, like, personally, from what's like we could be killing it in Melbourne and it just sometimes it just like it doesn't relate to Sydney. I just always found that that's probably been like the hardest state for me to crack into personally. I've played good gigs here. Mm-hmm. I played bad gigs here. But I've done the same thing in Melbourne. Like, yeah.
What other like in terms of like music?
You know, I probably don't spend enough time here to know like the exact ins and outs of it. Mm-hmm. I've just always found that it's just like, well, we personally just don't sell as well. Obviously, we're going to sell better in Melbourne, but like for instance, in Adelaide, we translated pretty well. In Queensland with the Gold Coast and that sort of stuff, we did the same thing. I just find it's a bit more, maybe a bit more clicky. Then again, Melbourne is too.
Yeah.
Like Melbourne's exactly the same, but.
Yeah, but in terms of like music, what do you mean by the sound doesn't resonate? Because Melbourne has a wide variety of music.
Yeah, I just find this a bit more like, from the sizable gigs, I've always found that there's a bit more gap in the a bit more gap. So there's, like, for me, like, it was either sash or commercial, and there was like less in the middle for us. And now there's quicker stuff as well. But back then, I just found that I just felt like there's a bit more of a gap in between the music. But we always really sat in the middle, not commercial, but not not minimal and underground. It's like not minimal music, which is like it's fine, but it just doesn't work for us. I think maybe breaking through Sydney is like for us was just a bit tougher because of that gap. Well, from where I can see, like sizable clubs weren't playing that sort of music except the Ivy, or yeah.
Was that? Do you reckon it was easy back then, or do you reckon it's hard? How has that sort of difficulty changed over the years since you started marking memory like 7-8 years ago?
Yeah.
How has it changed?
Well,
is it more difficult?
I'm not sure because I really haven't been to Sydney that much.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we've played here as Market Memories 4 times. We played the Jamie Jones show. We played for Blueprint, and we've done 2 others. I can't remember which ones. But we always seem to fit in well when we play, but it's just about finding that right gig. Maybe our price point was too high back then as well. There's
a lot of factors I think that go into it. But I think breaking into any new market or any new city is always difficult, or trying to break into. Sort of like, I guess, because you've obviously broken into this Melbourne scene broken into. I'm saying you've established yourself already in Melbourne, not broken into it, but you've established yourself in Melbourne fairly well now. Like you're a staple act in most clubs and stuff like that. How have you sort of been able to do that over the years?
Oh, okay. So like, I'm always around. So for instance, it's like you've got to hustle. So like now, the worst thing you can do is send a long generic message with a sound like this comes from a booking point of view, not from me, what I personally do. So I always find that I just get, hi, Sean, and then a big long spiel, and then a SoundCloud link, all in the same message, not personal, not anything. Personally, I won't read or listen to many of them. But if I meet someone out at the club, come support our night, come do this, hey man, I'm like, hey man, message me on Tuesday, just remind me that you spoke to me on Sunday, or Saturday, or whenever it was, and bang, and I'll go through the music 100%. I think the main thing is be present. Like if you're present, you don't have to go out and get like messed up every time you go out, but be present. Like people want people that support. Like I won't book anyone on a Sunday that won't come down 3 or 4 weeks in a row so they know the music. Now if they come down, I'm going to let them in for free. I'm going to give them some drink cards. I'm going to look after them. I'm not going to come out and spend their life savings. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like if I say, hey, come down if you want to be a part of this Sunday, come down 3 or 4 weeks in a row, I'll give you some drinks. You free entry. That's fine. But I don't want just a random to come in and say, oh, I spent one night at Circus Sundays. Oh, I know what to play there now. Like, no, come. You want to be a resident? Come hang out. Come support. Get someone's hustle. Like, contribute to the community.
So so more. Yeah, I've heard that a lot actually. That a lot of people always say that. Like,
I think I was actually like Cassette from Sydney. She's the perfect example of for me, from what I've seen, is she's like, she does the hustle, she does the hard work, she plays good gigs, she plays, she supports the community. Like, I think that's the best example for Sydney. This is like, because she's a hustler. She's great in every way, I reckon. So like, that's the sort of thing. Like, she would, I think she said a similar answer to me as well. But like, just like, support
parties,
support. Like be known, but don't be annoying.
That's the main thing. Don't be annoying. Yeah, don't be that guy.
I'm gonna get that on a t-shirt.
But I think that's a good point. I've heard a lot of people say that, and a lot of people say the same thing of, if you want to get gigs as a DJ and you want to be more known in the community, you have to actually go out and be present and physically be there.
Yeah, like you stand at a bar, like, God, even if you don't want to drink, just be there. Go in, support music, have a dance, fine. Like,
I think with the age of social media as well, a lot of people, I fall guilty to it as well, but just think that it's a lot easier. It's definitely a more connected world now with social media. Yeah. People still want to see that physical presence in the club, on the street, having a conversation with them, sort of talking to them instead of just being text message. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, it's just like, sorry, when I brought up that, like, I just remember just thinking, hi, I'm blah blah from. I've just moved here from I don't know, and I played techno, house, R&B, hip hop. This. Here's 4 of my mixes. I'm like, no one's gonna book you like that. Like,
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, like kids, go shake someone's hand. Hi, how you going? Like, it's not hard.
Yeah, and then after that you can sort of start pitching your mixes and your tracks, because after that it's warm instead of being cold. Yeah. So I think that's the main thing. Be present in the community. Especially if you can be. A lot of times, there's obviously exceptions where people just can't be present because they live too far. Or they can't afford it.
Fine. But if you're gonna do that, make and release music. So I know who you want to book. I want to book you, but I'm saying for like younger DJs that want to break through in the scene. Sure, most people, not everyone, most people are DJs before they're producers. If you're from out of town, sweet. If you make something. They need to make stuff that's catches people's eyes, so you want to get booked. But if you're a DJ and you're living in a local town, go support your local community wherever it is.
For sure.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
I think that made sense.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, you're local. Yeah, if you live somewhere in the city, support your local. Even like if it's a club, don't support your local. Is can be seen in different ways. But yeah, in terms of the clubbing and DJing scene, support your local club, and then just go in, shake hands, and by the time you know it, your friends with everyone.
Hands, shake hands. So hey, I'm sweet. I'm gonna be here all night. See you later.
Yeah, literally.
What's that guy doing? Oh, he's going to dance.
Literally, that's all it is. But no, I think that's been a very insightful conversation. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing all your insights, because I feel like, again, we were saying it, that people love hearing the stories of what life was before their time.
Yeah.
Like myself, for example, I love hearing stories of people that went out in Melbourne, Sydney, wherever, when they were younger and back in the 2000s, and just knowing that it was like an absolute zoo. Controlled zoo, controlled chaos.
Yeah. No, that's good. Like, I think the main difference between Melbourne and Sydney is definitely the 24-hour licensing. So it changes Sydney.
Yeah, it's 24-hour licenses.
Yeah, I think that's the main building of culture. It's sort of like Amsterdam, like as in like Amsterdam has lots of places that run through and through. They even have a thing called a night mayor. So it's a mayor just of the nightlife.
I think I've seen that. Yeah. But I think also Melbourne's more open. Like it's a more of you have a more of like a 24-hour city.
Yeah.
Whereas Sydney, everything closes at like midnight, except for like a kebab shop on the corner.
Yeah. or Vivid.
Yeah. Literally, and then after that, you can't really do anything. Whereas in Melbourne, it's like things are open till God knows how late. So that's one thing, I think, just being open late. But no, thank you for Sean for coming on. Obviously, guys, if you've enjoyed the episode, again, make sure you like, subscribe, share it around, rate us on Spotify. Thanks for Sean.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Listen to his songs. Listen to their songs on Mark Memories.
If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to message my Instagram page. I reply to everyone. Yeah,
I'll leave a link to it in the description. So check that out. Anyways, guys, see you later and take care.